I'm standing in the main gallery of the 555, and currently it's housing an exhibition anyone can be a part of. 555 asks for photographs from the community of people celebrating everyday life as seen by everyday people. And wow, they have got some astonishing photographs, y'all. Our next segment takes us to Cass Tech High School, where a group of students were inspired by the Heidelberg Project to create art of their own.
We've always tried to be on the cutting edge of theater here at Cass, mainly because we're one of the few schools with a performing arts department.
I think that what's interesting about our director, Ms. McCormick, is that since she's been here, she's touched probably every musical that's out there that high schools are allowed to do, and even some that we aren't.
We've done so many things. I thought, what better story to tell than our own?
We started hearing about news in Detroit about the burning down of the Heidelberg Projects, and it was like, why not tell the story that's going around us?
As we were sitting around talking about all of this, I just thought, oh, I'll show them these pictures, because I don't know how many of them were even aware of the Heidelberg Project. But I thought it would just cause them to start thinking about things. I had no idea that it would affect them the way that it did.
We started breaking into groups, and we all picked a house. And then we picked a story to go with the house, like a family that lived there, and we had to choose who was gonna live there and what they're gonna go through.
I thought it's inspired by the Heidelberg Project. Wouldn't it be cool if Tyree knew about this? And so I said to the kids, find a phone number. We just have to call. And the woman I was speaking to, Margaret Grace, said, that's wonderful, go for it. And I'm going to arrange for Tyree to meet with the kids and they can experience the Heidelberg Project.
The Heidelberg Project has always been a big thing, probably one of the many good things that Detroit has left. And so many of it was being burned down, tore down. And yet, Tyree Guyton, who created the Heidelberg Project, he's still going. We see that Detroit is being burned down. It may be physically, maybe emotionally, mentally. Now we can work with Tyree in a way of our art to build it back up.
And to see him, you know, when we were touring, to me that was so profound.
You guys are doing what you're doing. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it.
Because he has taken such a loss on his art, but he's so determined and he believes in this city. He believes that there is a good to be had here and that something great can come from us.
The musical is called Headlines Up From the Ashes, The Experience.
Well, you only hear the bad headlines that's coming out of Detroit right now. That's how we got Headlines, and we got the experience because we want this not to be a typical musical. We want the audience to experience something that they never encountered.
Everything is original and from the cast. The music, the choreography, the story, the characters, the story behind the houses.
This musical is going through the history of the city of Detroit and figuring out what went wrong and what has helped the city, and trying to look at those and look at that history and come up with what the city is today and trying to figure out how to get to a point of what we want it to be.
There's different stories being told in different ways, especially with our music choices. It's not just one genre. The way that the story is being told, verbally and physically, it's so different from so many other shows.
The plot of the musical is about a guy named Dustin who has lost hope. He is the epitome of Detroit now.
Just like Detroit going through wrong and right, he's battling between what's good and what's bad.
My character, Edward, he shows the good guy in Detroit, the good guy and wants better. But Dustin, he shows where Detroit is headed if we keep on acting like this.
Throughout the whole entire process, there are gods, time, love, soul, hope, and war. Throughout the play, the gods sort of mold themselves with the events that happen in the real world. If something tragic happens, the gods, they react to that all together.
We ended it off with somebody about to create a good process. We didn't end it off like the problem has been answered. We don't know the future, so we can't dictate if good is going to be at the end because we don't know. All we can do is, just like in the finale, say this is what we want in order for us to get out of the ashes that we are in. Even though, like on the poster, it doesn't say directed by Marilyn G. McCormick, I feel all of us did a little directing, but she was the guider, the top director.
What I want is this tempo.
She's like our outside eye looking in.
Come out. This is not a funeral dirge. We're not burying something at this point. We are raising something.
I would say the most challenging song in the show would have to be the finale number. We wanted it to be more like a chant. It wasn't a dragging ballad, or it wasn't, I'm happy because we are done fighting, because we're not done fighting. We are marching for the rising of our city.
One thing that we were discussing before we started creating the musical is how are people going to take it after sitting here for 2 hours and 3 acts? Will they walk away feeling like we changed their lives? And that's our main goal.
Ultimately, I want the audience to walk away from this experience knowing that we are one unit, we are connected.
I want people to know that you can fight, that something good happens here, and that we are the good that happens here.
I personally want them to walk away feeling like we can fill those empty lots, we can rebuild those houses, we can put back the Heidelberg Project and recognize the beauty that's in it and in Detroit.
I feel theater is positive to inspire someone to do that because it's real intimate and it's enclosed.
It brings people together in a way that it wouldn't normally happen.
Well, what I have taken away from the show is we are a lot stronger than we think we are, especially once we have other people that we know we can lean on. That's mainly what my ensemble has taught me. And the show itself, it showed me the beauty in Detroit and how wonderful we all are together, even though other people in other cities and other states, and they're all like looking down on us. I know that we have a lot of promise.
I want people to understand and realize that the youth aren't lost, that they have this ability to make changes, and they can follow through from the beginning to the end of something and do it well.
To find out more about the Castex students' creations, as well as all the other Detroit Perform artists, art events, and art programs, head to DetroitPerforms.org.